Nature deficit disorder, it's not an official medical term, but it's the concept that when so many of us are disconnected from the outdoors and from time in nature, things happen to our brains and bodies that they weren't designed to process. So we don't see the sunrise, we don't see the sunset, we don't have that sort of normal circadian rhythm helping us sleep at night. We're not exercising as much as we should be. We're not exposed to vitamin D from daylight, which is actually affecting the way children's eyes are developing, so that more kids are nearsighted now because of the lack of vitamin D from sunlight. We see epidemics of diabetes and anxiety and depression. These are kind of considered diseases of the indoors, if you will. And if we spend more time outside, some of those symptoms can really be helped. I spent a lot of years being very fortunate to live in the shadow of the Rocky Mountains, where I had a sort of hourly connection to the outdoors. I had trails outside of my house. I was on those mountain trails all the time. And then my family picked up and moved to the heart of Washington, D.C. And I felt this almost like a stress bomb went off in my brain. I wasn't used to being in such an urban area. The noise, the pollution, the sort of gray landscape, the asphalt, the traffic. I was more anxious, and I was kind of depressed and stressed out. One of the first places I went when I was researching my book was Japan, and that's because scientists there were monitoring people's nervous systems outside in nature. So they were measuring their brain waves and their stress hormones, their heart rate, their blood pressure. And they were doing this while people were engaging in a Japanese practice called Shinrinoku, or forest bathing. And what it really involves is actively working to open up your senses. So you would say to yourself, or maybe a forest ranger would say to you, what are you hearing? What sounds are out there? What do you feel in terms of the temperature of the air around you? Can you smell something from the forest? These cues help wake up our sensory brains, and when that happens, we can see from the science that our nervous systems actually calm down. So we produce less stress hormone, like cortisol. Our blood pressure actually drops like several points, 3 to 4 points. Our heart rate variability, which is another measure, acts in a way that is less stressed out and more calm. Trees give off aerosols, these small molecules filled with chemicals that smell really wonderful, or that wonderful smell of soil after a rain. Apparently there are microbes in the soil that have an antidepressant effect on mice in laboratory experiments, and presumably in humans as well. We do know a lot of people who are very, very fond of that smell, and of course love to garden whenever they can. And it turns out that when humans experience those smells, our immune systems actually amp up a little bit too, in a good way. So apparently, according to scientists in Japan, we produce more killer T cells, which are important for fighting viruses and cancer and other diseases. And this happens actually in the presence of some of these big trees when we're in the woods. Texas is a beautiful state with a lot of natural beauty. It may not be the big pine forests, that I talk about in Japan. But a lot of the neuroscience studies that I spent time trying to understand in my book actually take place in places like Utah. So I worked with a neuroscientist there who has found that people who go for walks, in parks or in canyons in the desert, also experience a lot of these benefits, where their creative brains are stronger after these walks outside. They feel calmer, they feel happier. We know that we can find a lot of beauty in different kinds of landscapes.